Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and something you need to know about me is I absolutely adore books. Books that have to do with people that like books, books that have to do with bookstores and libraries, and just anything bibliophilic. I love them. With that in mind, I'm going to share with you some of the books that I have personally loved. I know that there are more that I have loved that aren't on this list, but have you ever tried to make a list of books and then your mind goes absolutely blank of literally every book you've ever read? I'm having a little bit of that problem. I also know there are tons of other books out there and I just haven't read them, so if you have any recommendations, I always want them down in the comments below. That being said, let's get into my recommendations. The first one being the Readers of Broken Wheel recommend. This is all about this girl that is coming from Europe to this very small town in America to visit a friend she met online, and when she gets there, she finds out that that friend has actually passed away. The protagonist ends up staying in this small town and taking all the books from her friend's personal library and opening a secondhand bookstore. Reading is not a big thing in Broken Wheel. It is not a thing that people generally do, but it is the passion that she shared with the friend that passed away, so she wanted to share it with the people of this town as a way of honoring her friend who she didn't get to meet in person. This is an absolutely delightful book filled with literary references. That's something I'm going to say probably a few times in this video, but it's definitely at the top of my recommendation list. My favorite book of 2017 was Words in Deep Blue. This one takes place in a bookstore. It's actually a family-owned second-hand bookstore. And something interesting about this bookstore is there's this one section called the Letters Library where it's just full of books that you can't actually purchase, but people have taken them down, read them in the store, added their own marginalia. Sometimes they leave letters in the books for other people, and that aspect of it is what made it my favorite book of the year. Obviously, being placed in a bookstore, it's going to be talking about books, it's going to have literary references, but it's also so raw and so emotional and just something I very much enjoyed. One of the books that's actually mentioned in Words in Deep Blue is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. This is a book because the main character really needs to know how the end of the story goes for her favorite book, to the point where she wants to meet the author of the book to kind of figure out how it went afterwards. Obviously, there are other things going on in this book. This character is very sick, there's a budding romance, there's many things, there's many feels, but at the heart of it, it's all about the fandom of this one specific book. Next we have The Cottingley Secret by Hazel Gaynor. This book takes place in the past in the little town of Cottingley when these two sisters were coming up with a hoax. They weren't trying to make a big hoax, but that's what ended up happening. And then it also takes place in the present where that protagonist has just inherited a bookstore. Which, you know, assuming it's financially viable, is obviously the dream. Next we have the Inkheart series, which is an obvious choice because it's all about this protagonist who has a father that when he reads a book out loud, characters from that book come out of that book. Similarly, but a standalone, we have The Book Jumper, and it's all about being able to jump into books by reading them. I could not make this list without mentioning Strange the Dreamer, which is such a bookish book. Laszlo Strange is a librarian, so you have that right there. It has a deep passion for knowledge, which is something I very much enjoy. We also have The Bookish Life of Nina Hill. Nina works in a bookstore, absolutely loves books, spends a lot of her free time reading books on her couch with her cat Phil. There's a romance component to this book, but it's also about so much more. It's about anxiety and some life changes that she has to go through, and all of the little literary references are just very funny. And finally, to throw it back to an old school choice, we have Matilda by Roald Dahl. This is all about a little girl who teaches herself to read because her parents are very neglectful. She is very smart. She ends up reading basically the entire library in her town, and it's all about this love for books. I honestly still can't believe that I didn't read this as a child. And there you have it. There are just a few of the wonderful bookish books that are out there. Like I said, if you have recommendations for me, I want them. I love a good bookish book, so let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you want to let me know you're here but don't feel like leaving a comment, just leave an emoji or a smiley face if you're on your computer. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!